Hello, everybody, and welcome back to our monthly .NET MAUI Community Toolkit stand-up. I guess, a reduced, reduced stand-up today, but we got some good stuff coming. Vlad and Sean have been putting in a ton of work on new versions of Popup, so really excited to chat about those with you guys today, and also everybody here who's joining us. We got George got a pull request opened up for rating view that's super close that I'm excited for. So let's get going. Vlad, how you doing? What's new?
Yeah, hello everybody. So nothing special, just a lot of open PRs, a lot of merged PRs. Yeah. And yeah, that's it from my side.
Nice, John. How you doing? So you're giving awesome talks in London recently.
I did, yes. It's been a rather busy schedule. I've just updated my book to second edition. I've given a talk, so I've been rather distant on the community toolkit, so I'm back on it now. I'm going to be
Congrats,
looking at some
man. That's
docs
huge.
PRs. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw you helping out Steven this morning. That's or my morning. Yeah, I guess we missed that when we merged his latest update. So definitely want to get that documented because if it's not documented, it doesn't exist. But yeah, let's pull up the schedule. We've got. There we go. Sorry, everybody. I'm on a different computer today, so everything's in slightly different spaces. All right. So as always, you can find our agendas here in the wiki on the GitHub repo, and I'll share it in the comments right now so everybody can follow along. But this is basically going to be the Vlad show today. So we got issues and PRs from Vlad. But first, I want to chat about upcoming releases because we've had a bunch of PRs merged recently. We were just talking about it before the show. James has been doing an awesome job reviewing PRs, merging PRs. So lots of good stuff coming. And yeah, would love to get some of these out, like a new version of Community Toolkit.MAUI, new version of Community Toolkit.MAUI.camera, and Media Element. Camera and Media Element both have some good bug fixes that we recently merged, and MAUI also good bug fixes and kind of a new feature. So we figured to give it a minor feature bump. But yeah, since Gerald's not here, why not commit to it, make him do it. But no, truly, whenever Gerald's available, we'll follow up with him to push out the latest releases. But with that, Vlad, let's
Yeah,
jump into
I
it.
just want to add a few words about releases. So it will be the first releases that go in with the new GitHub Actions, not Azure DevOps. So if you see any issues with that, let us know. Yeah, and probably it should be released not 10 but 11. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I already updated the page, but yeah, if I'm not mistaken, it should be 11.1.
Oh, cool. Do we have a
Yeah,
breaking change?
yeah. No, because our latest release was 11.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, it's one of those days for me. That's okay. Good
yeah,
catch. Thanks, Vlad. Yeah, so we're not going back to 10.1. We're going forward to 11.1.
yeah,
All right. Well, yeah, kick us off, Vlad.
yeah.
Offline speech.
As for offline speech, we having some issues related to this new feature, offline speech recognition, and probably it also exists with speech to text, which is online speech recognition. And if you scroll down, the person found actually the issue that it exists in a naming of culture info. So when we have a culture info to string, it's like with underscore, but it's like it with a dash, but yeah, dash. But actually, it should be with underscore. So a good question, is it some available methods that should automatically convert it instead of just string replace for that? Or as far as I see, it's only for Android, so probably Android differently use Java indifferently converted to string and just use it's different convention for Android and Java, while in .NET we have different separator for this.
Yeah, I saw this pop up. So it's just on Android. Like iOS doesn't have this problem, Windows doesn't have this problem. Yeah, I mean, if we have a cross-platform API that allows our users to enter in their culture, then it feels like we should do this for them. But the only thing with this is like, how far back does it go? Like, is this a new Android API 35 thing? Like, if we test this out on Android 25, does it still happen? And then the only thing I would think of is, like, is this a bug or a known issue with the MAUI team or the .NET Android team that maybe we should raise?
Actually, I don't know. I'm not sure if actually MAUI have some interaction with that and impact on that, just because I think it's the default behavior and how Java actually treats the culture info. Even if I share my screen for a second, and share my entire screen, you can see here. So where that happens. So if
Can you
we
zoom
have
in a lot of it?
yeah, sure.
I can't see anything. Okay, cool.
So it's our speech-to-text parameter where we have a culture. It's just our general culture info where we have its name, right? And for Java, for just convert from C# culture to Java culture, we use this method for language tag, and that's it. And if we take a look for the parameter, actually, it suggests us that it's an optional parameter, but for example, it uses culture with a dash separator.
Interesting.
So actually, it's the same as we pass and we use in .NET. So it is really weird that using underscore solves the problem. So maybe we need once again investigate maybe some changes on specific platform or some other changes, but even according to this documentation, it should be with a dash. Actually, what we get from C#, and the same applies for another parameter, extra language preference. Pretty much the same documentation, right? And we pass Java default localization for that. So that's how it's. So the problem somewhere here. So if we just use replace here with underscore, probably it will be solved. But I actually don't like that solution.
Yeah, same, right? Like, because George is asking in the comments how MAUI handles culture, and George, it's just using the culture object. So you can see here, like options.culture. That's just the .NET. Culture info. There we go. Mm-hmm. So this feels like a bug. Like, feels like something we should raise to the .NET Android team, because the docs say it should work, but the docs are wrong. So if anything, they either got to fix the docs or fix the code. So my thought is we should open up an issue there. I mean, you've got the workaround here in GitHub. Like, I'll give it a thumbs up here so people can more quickly find it on the issue. But that feels like, because like with the .NET Android library, they wrap every Android API in, expose it for us in C#. But they also will C#ify some things, like, because Android has all the get set methods, so they'll take those and turn them into properties for us C# people. And so it feels like they just missed this one. They didn't like C#ify.
Yeah, I am okay if they change just documentation to use underscore, and that will be a trigger for me just to use let's string replace. But for now, reading that, understand that everything should work as expected, right? And that's it how we implemented it. So if it will be changed somewhere in MAUI Android, .NET for Android, so that will be great.
Yeah. Do you want to open up an issue, or do you know any of the guys on the .NET Android team?
Yeah, if you help me with that, I would appreciate.
Sure. Yeah. Let's follow up in the chat or in our maintainers chat, because obviously Gerald has a direct line to the team. So yeah, I say let's loop in Gerald and see if this is maybe a known issue. Yeah, if not, we can open up a bug report. But yeah, I think like you said, Vlad, I hate that workaround too, because it feels like we could implement the workaround in our library and then this gets fixed.
Yeah, exactly.
Fixed, assuming it is a bug.
It works in other APIs, like in Windows. You can see that we use speech recognition engine, but it receives culture info as a parameter. And so it's natively, we do not need to convert it to some other class. And for iOS, it's also from locale identifier, and seems like it correctly understands just a culture name.
Yeah.
I don't know if it has some, maybe here we have some different, like display name, native name. Maybe we should just use another parameter instead of just replace. But yeah, for iOS, it actually works. At least we don't have a bug on iOS. Maybe in Android, probably we can replace it with like not a culture or some, like, I don't know, native name, whatever it is.
I don't even know if those would have underscores. I've never seen an underscore in a culture. I mean, not that I'm some sort of culture info expert, but yeah, just reading your comment here, where it's like the solutions to replace the dash with an underscore. I was like, what? In a culture info? Like that seems
actually probably I removed that part of code, but in Tizen actually it used underscore.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Maybe here.
Stack Overflow seems to suggest it's either hyphen or underscore in different places for Android. The only thing I would ask for, if we wanted a more suitable workaround, is if we can list the current locales and then effectively remove the characters that we don't care about. But that gets a bit fiddly and it wouldn't perform as well.
Yeah, because my big concern is we implement this workaround, so we do like a string dot replace and just tell it to replace dashes with underscores, but that's buried in our library, and so if anything changes where we raise this to the MAUI team, they go, oh yeah, that should definitely be dashes. That's our bad. Well, now we've just introduced a bug into our library that we'll have to fix once they fix it. And
yes, my thought on a more future-proof workaround is to remove both the underscore and the dash. If we can get a list of locales from Android, match it that way, and then undo the replacement for the Android side and use that. You find the best match. But that will involve enumerating through locales, which it won't perform as well, but it would hopefully avoid the issue. Or we raise it up with the Android.NET Android team in.
Yeah, I say, Gerald's not here, so let's volunteer him for more work and let's have him follow up, because we could probably find out by the end of next week whether or not the team's aware of it, or the team plans on fixing or changing anything, or if they think it's a bug. Because my fear is just we put in all this work and then the bug gets fixed and then we got to remove all the work. So I think for now, I don't see it as a blocker. I see that we've got the comment from here, from Vlad here. So folks should be able to find this. and implement the workaround. But yeah, let's have a chat with the team first before we spend our time doing work that we'll just rip out later. That would be terrible.
Okay.
All right. Welcome, James.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, hello.
All right. Okay, Vlad.
Yeah,
You're
and
still up.
that's me again. So yeah, as for this one, it's actually a bug, right? And it behaves different that other platforms work. So the issue that when internet disappear and then appear, the map doesn't re-render; it just show a empty screen without actually rendering the map. And that's different behavior that we see in Android, for example. So workaround here is pretty simple, that we can subscribe to internet network changes and just re-render the map. But main question about our map implementation. Actually, I remember we discussed some months ago that map probably will be obsolete, so it will be replaced with some native implementation, and we'll use Azure Maps, and it will be a part of .NET MAUI. So should we? MAUI will have the native handler for maps for Windows. So main question here: should we implement this one, or we just deprecate our package and that's it? It's probably a better question to Gerald?
Yes, Gerald. Thoughts?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same question. And to be honest, Vlad, I thought our package was made obsolete like a year ago.
I think that's
And-
what we hoped for, but I don't think they didn't make progress with actually
Dang.
solving it. So I think it's kind of still lives on for a while.
Okay.
Our
At least
package
that was the
will-
last time we checked.
Yeah, our package will definitely be deprecated when Bing Maps will stop working. So it will not render independently if you haven't run it or not. But yeah, so for now, probably while it's still supported, maybe, and .NET MAUI does not have native windows from Azure Maps. So probably we can make a tiny release for this one. So it will be a tiny PR. Probably the last PR for this package.
Sure. Yeah, I'd say as long as it's easy, like we were talking about before the show, before it started, we still have a bunch of open issues and PRs that people are begging to be fixed. So I don't see this as super high priority, but yeah, certainly if it's something where it's a couple lines of code, less than an hour of your time. Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah, as for
xUnit V3, yeah.
yeah, as for this one, it's a merged PR. Let me probably share my screen. I will share you as well how actually what is changed there, so you can run your tests and understand how actually why we did the changes and what actually changed. So as for xUnit v3, it's a new version of xUnit framework for writing tests. So it's based on a new Microsoft testing platform framework. It's an alternative solution for VS Test. And why actually Microsoft created a new Microsoft testing platform framework? So if we're taking a look at actually Microsoft VS Test, it's actually a framework for writing tests, for running tests. it is responsible for discovering all tests, integration with IDE and etc. So we can, if I zoom a bit, so it's how actually VS Test works, right? In a few words. So we have an IDE. It needs to communicate with test runner. So test runner is our VS Test console package another package that we need. So that package will just discover all tests. It will search for, it's responsible for logging, for everything that's related to your tests, and it will run your tests. So, and this communication between IDE, between tests, discovering that execution hosts, it usually takes it takes some time, let's say. It's not a lot of time, but actually it takes some time. So, and also you depends on some runners for your tests. So you cannot run your tests like separate application and get result. So you need some test runners. You need to run .NET test command to just run your tests. So that actually changed with the new Microsoft testing platform. It resolves all that issues. So you have zero dependencies from any runners. So everything is embedded into your new project. So now VS Tests, let's go with our tests. It's actually an executable file. So you can, it's just a file on Windows. You can just double click and run all your tests. As you can see for the changes, we have now a dependency only on a package reference, xUnit v3, without dependency on Microsoft testing SDK, xUnit runner, and that's less dependencies, less vulnerabilities, less less runners that should run. But actually, if you just pull our repository and try to run your tests, you will see that it doesn't work as you expect. That is because, that is because,
the hard way,
that is because you need to enable some flags. So that it's a new Microsoft testing platform framework. So in your Visual Studio options, you have to find the preview features and enable testing platform server mode. If you're running your tests using ReSharper, or you have Rider, or you have some other similar tool, you have to open its tools, or find this test, and enable testing platform support. After that, you will be able to run your tests. So also Test Explorer works. You can run it from Test Explorer, but also you can run your tests just as a general project. Just run it. It will build. It will start your tests. And also you can debug your tests like that. So as you can see, I started a unit test project as executable. It started xUnit runner there, and you can see it put all my breakpoints. You can just continue and debug all your tests. It will run one by one. You can get all results. It's just a simple debugging as your general application. It doesn't matter it's a test or not. So that the changes that we did for xUnit, and also we hope our tests will run faster and you always will get a green pipelines.
Yeah, no, I love it. I really appreciate you doing this work, Vlad. That was a big PR for this. But I do want to point out, like I said, I learned a couple lessons the hard way after this got merged. One being, by instinct, I'll open up the command line and I'll say .NET test. And that doesn't work in this new format.
It's a good catch.
Run.
Well, actually, we could leave that working, but we decided why not to. But for that, we also needed to install some runner. just for back compatibility. So for that, so how you run your test from console, you can find how we did it in our YAML file. For that, you can just use .NET Run. It should be somewhere, here. So running tests is just a .NET Run. And after that, you can specify all other parameters. Actually, everything exists in documentation. So if you don't like documentation, you can just grab it from our repository.
That's exactly how I figured it out, actually. I was like, it works in the CI builds, but I don't understand why .NET Test isn't working anymore.
Yeah. So if you run from IDE, you can use how I showed in your Studio options. If you run it from CI, you can just run .NET Run, and that's it.
Yeah, and then the other thing I found, JetBrains Rider doesn't yet support it. They have a new preview version of Rider that I haven't tried it yet. So hopefully they've added this the same way Visual Studio's added this kind of preview test experience or test server, I think they call it. Hopefully JetBrains will add that too. So yeah, for anybody that is checking out the repo, trying to run tests in JetBrains, things might be a little wonky until they catch up. But yeah, if you just remember .NET Run in the command line accomplishes the same thing, or like Vlad showed, I didn't even think about the fact that you could just click the build and run or the debug button. That makes it even easier.
Yeah.
Vlad, I do have a question for you though. So now that we're moving away from Azure Pipelines to GitHub Actions, when we did these code coverage results in Azure Pipelines, Azure Pipelines would have like this beautiful tab where like everything's broken out and you can see percentages. We still have the results and they still get published in GitHub Actions as artifacts, but the best I can tell, it's just XML files. Is there a better way for us to review these, or an easier way for me to like look at a glance to see what the code coverage is on this new PR?
Yeah, it's a question, and actually I do not have answer right now. Let's choose some build. I don't know which
Is
one.
George working on Rating View during the stand-up?
I've just reviewed the PR.
It should be somewhere here, actually, and even on on iOS GitHub client, I saw a coverage there, so it's somehow rendered it. But yeah, here I haven't found if it's maybe summary. I don't know. It's just showing artifacts. Yeah, probably it does not render here.
Yeah, because that's down there is the test results and the code coverage, and then again, I didn't spend more than 2 minutes on this, but yeah, I downloaded this folder and I cracked it open and it was like, oh, this is just ugly XML stuff. Like,
yeah, we can try to render it as HTML page instead of XML. Probably it will be better for just showing. I don't know if we can just display it somewhere here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because I loved that. I don't even think we did anything for Azure Pipelines to report the code coverage inside of the GitHub CI/CD pipelines. It just did. But yeah, so what I was looking for is basically, like, let's say George is working on Rating View, and George has already added in about 500 unit tests. Thank you, George. You're incredible. Nobody tests like George does. I love it. But yeah, basically, I just want a quick report that I can look at to say, okay, George, looks like you've covered everything except this one property, and we can slap it in there. But
coverage didn't change.
There is a tool I've used in the past called Reports Generator, where you can pass it in the XML file and it will generate you a HTML report.
Cool.
Obviously, Azure DevOps had that fancy feature of doing it for you. I don't know if GitHub actions do, but
Yeah, the main problem if we want to make it easy just to, as we had in Azure DevOps, just to display it somewhere, I don't know, somewhere here in the output or in summary, just to display that our status, total duration, artifacts, and test coverage. So yeah, for now, I think, yeah, I will take a look if we can find. I think it should be available, but yeah, just another command which will publish some magic file that will just
Yeah, I'm too
as
lazy.
a kind of, I don't know if it makes it more complex, but sometimes it's quite nice in the fact that if we generated something like a PowerShell script that would generate the report file, we could run that on a development machine as well and find out the reports prior to the GitHub actions doing it. You know what I mean? So we could run these reports and say, well, I can clearly see I haven't covered everything, and therefore I could do it before relying on GitHub actions
Yeah,
to tell us.
I think we can just change here our coverage output format from cobertura to HTML or report xUnit HTML, and it will just have a beautiful HTML page.
Cool.
But yeah, I think I left cobertura here just because we had it in Azure DevOps. So
Yeah.
if we see that it makes more sense to just a beautiful HTML page for easy investigating our test coverage, I think we can just change it and that's it.
Sounds good.
Cool. That'd be awesome. Thanks, Vlad. Yeah, and thanks again for doing all this. I bumped up to xUnit V3 in our .NET 9 PR, but yeah, couldn't figure out how to do this next part to get rid of the test runners. But you know, it's the future. That's all .NET developers are going to have to do this eventually. So I love that we can share this and show folks how we did it. And
yeah, the last major changes here, it's that we, instead of writing cancellation token known, it has now test context current. We can get the context of current page and pass the cancellation token, and it will be a native way to cancel exactly that test instead. So if we cancel test, we don't need to wait for the task or whatever xUnit does for that. So it will natively cancel this task, and that's it. It's also new changes.
I love that.
That other frameworks had, but xUnit version 2 didn't have it. So now it's also available. We have a test context.
Wow, I was wondering because I didn't review the PR. I just kind of flipped through it and I saw all the places where you added in the cancellation token. I was like, oh, cool. Like Vlad must have added it to the base class, but no, that's included in, I guess you call it the test server now.
Yeah, it actually
That's
took
great.
me 5 seconds just with find and replace. But anyway, yeah. Actually, even xUnit analyzer will tell you that you should change your token that you pass here with a new test
Oh,
context.
yeah?
So that's also enhancement on that.
We should promote that and or add that to our warnings as errors, so that
Yeah.
we don't forget. Because yeah, like what was happening was we would have a test fail, or actually the test would crash, but then Azure Pipelines would keep basically spinning its wheels because other tests were still running, but it just crashed. So there's no way that like the test could finish because the process wasn't around anymore. And yeah, for us, we would just sit there for an hour before Azure Pipelines is like, wait a minute, this has been running for an hour. I'm gonna kill it. And so I love the fact that this includes a global cancellation token that'll work, because I wonder if what we can do, and so I'm pointing to your screen, like line 55 there, I went through and added timeouts for everything that was a async task test to try and help us avoid this. And I wonder now if we can just remove all those timeouts as long as we're using the test context cancellation token.
I
Should do
I
the same
think
thing, right?
different parameters. So timeout is just the maximum time that you can run your test. So get a timeout to test. When return it will not have a timeout. But yeah, so timeout, when it happens, it will pass a cancellation token for that test, right? And it's an old branch. So and after that, it will cancel the task that it's running there and will cancel the whole test. So it's just a way to pass notify that cancellation token should cancel. So
Okay.
if you just remove it, it will just run indefinitely.
And probably the only thing I can think of is, let's see, show what's line 52. If you scroll all the way to the end, are we passing a cancellation into this, or this is an old branch?
I've just it's a pop-up test that I changing. So here I'm still have a cancellation token.
Because well, I guess what I was thinking is, if there's tests that like we're passing in a cancellation token that we're purposely going to cancel later, like we have a bunch of those tests, we can always chain on using dot. Oh gosh, what is what is that extension method? Say that again.
You mean cancellation token source?
Oh goodness, I need to. Is it wait async? Dot wait async?
Yeah.
So we could use that extension method to bolt on. Yeah, exactly. And then we could always pass in this cancellation token here as well.
Yeah, actually, if I'm not mistaken, I even passed there. So everywhere where we have it in tests, everywhere where we had just a wait async without a token, I passed this one. The test context, current cancellation token. Also, everywhere where we have cancellation token known, I've just replaced also with that one. So that's pretty much what's done in that PR.
Cool, love it. My first job was a test engineer out of college, so it's near and dear to my heart. Awesome, thanks, Vlad.
Yep.
All right. What's next for Vlad? Ooh, the expander fixes. I saw this one come through too.
Yeah. As for expander fixes,
is that the wrong link?
Nothing to show there. Just want to say that it will be an awesome PR. First of all, it should be expander fixes, but I opened the snackbar. As for expander fixes, I just want to say that we merged that PR and it's waiting for documentation, so it should be this one. Expander collection view. It first of all, it add a horizontal, it add a grid layout. Right, so when you in your collection view, you can put like a linear layout or grid layout. So expander now supports and correctly rendered inside of a collection view whatever layout you choose. And also, if we take a look at the file changes, you can see that we removed this file at all, expander Mac iOS. So now with the .NET 9, .NET MAUI team created a new collection view and carousel view handlers. And it works like a charm with expander. So we do not need, so if you see the difference, so previously we needed to somehow measure the cell size and resize all all cells that we had in collection view. Let me also zoom a bit. But now it is not necessary anymore. So it's done under the hood by, I don't know, .NET MAUI team or by a new handler, whatever is changed. That. Thank you very much. And also a major changes. So previously in Expander Shared, you can see that we had a not supported exception when you use Expander in a list view. Now that changes. List view is also supported.
Ooh, nice.
Today morning I created a PR for that for documentation. So feel free to review it. So I just removed the not supported exception. So you can run Expander in any you can put it in any control. So it can be a list view, collection view, and it will be much better, work much better in iOS and Mac Catalyst.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
I love
that's
that.
for the expander.
I feel like I'm gonna edit the title of this PR because I know when Gerald does releases, he looks at all the PRs that got merged.
Let me change it. Yeah, it should be not expander. We also have a lot of for snackbar, but probably it's not for this daily. I've changed the link. If we're talking about snackbar in few words, it also will be awesome. You will not get snackbar and toast hidden somewhere out of the screen. It will just render correctly, I would say. So as we all expect, so it will be automatically understand where it should render. Give it a second while it's opening. So yeah, you can see that it now displays so above or below of the anchor control, and that's how it works. Even you can see here. Oops, exceptions. It's no longer we do not want exceptions. Right, and that's you can see that if we open it correctly display and just render that. So that's new for our snack bar and toast. And we can continue with the pop-up version 2. Right, so it's experimental for now, probably. Because for now we still support our current pop-up. I don't know. I have also, before we get started with this PR, I have a small question. Should we mark our current PR as an obsolete or right as a obsolete? That I don't know. There will be breaking changes, right? So there will be probably not a lot of breaking changes, but anyway, they will exist, mostly in a pop-up service. And you can see I changed 94 files. So it's a huge PR.
Deleted 4,000 lines of code.
Yeah,
That's impressive.
just because we removed all handlers. And now, as we discussed on our previous stand-up, we use content page. So now we have like two pop-ups, right? So the first one is a pop-up container. It's actually an internal content page. You don't know what that actually it exists. It's how it works under the hood. Under the hood, it uses a pop-up container page that will be used to render your actually pop-up. Pop-up can be in any type content view, even any view. So you can just render it inside of that content page. And this PR actually fixes a lot of issues that we have. Probably we had, I don't know, but a lot of open issues for the pop-up.
Feels
And
like half the issues for
I think
pop-ups.
probably all of them can be closed after merging this PR, because actually it's a new implementation. It fixes a lot of issues for the pop-up, and I can even show how it works. So for simple pop-up, it just appear. You can see some dimmed background. You can click in the background. We have a pop-up with a button. Button can be clicked. We have a multiple button that can be canceled. cannot be sneezed by tapping outside of pop-up, only by a close button. We can also toggle size of pop-up. It be wider. What else we have? Transparent pop-up with a transparent background. Open event, so it will run some action on appearing. What do we have
What about
here?
those positioning ones or the anchor? I know those will be buttons.
Also closing go where we have like update. I don't know. It's not an updating pop-up. Let's just show pop-up content, custom position pop-up. It's not
Ooh,
that
look at
one,
that.
but it's still supported. And the only one thing that doesn't work right now, it's an anchor pop-up. I don't remember pop-up. Oh, this one. Actually, Brandon, I saw you left a comment that this doesn't work, and I see it's on Apple.
Yeah, mine was on iOS. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a very weird because if I choose this one, you can see it works at least on Android, at least on Windows, and I don't know how actually should we fix it because no specific. I will double check on iOS. Maybe I put something after you verified it, but yeah.
Yeah, when I looked at it, the horizontal and vertical options on the pop-up in the sample. So that sample page that's behind you in the screenshot I took, I think I got to that one just from views. I don't think I went to views, pop-up. I think just in the sample app, views the custom pop-up size position. But yeah, just the vertical and horizontal options was deleted from the code. And I quickly, again, didn't spend hours reviewing the PR like I should have, but just quickly tried to jump in and reset those. But I noticed those values were missing. And so,
initially I tried to remove everything that to make it as simple as possible, but after that I started returning some of them, and at least for now you can see that at least now it works and use horizontal and vertical options. I will check that page. Actually,
go back to
I have
views.
looked at this on all the operating systems, and there was a time when basically what Brandon brought up didn't work at all. Like all of the issues, I found them, I saw them, and then I noticed mysteriously they all started working.
I think I just forgot to remove this page. I found it. As you can see, I moved all pop-ups pages to multiple pop-ups page, and probably it's just a duplicated page. Like custom. So that one can be removed. Okay.
Cool.
Super awesome. So that's it about the new pop-up. It doesn't. Okay. And my question about this one: what should be done with existing pop-up? When and what actually should we mark as obsolete? The whole pop-up, only pop-up service, some methods.
What's the impact of pop-up service?
Mostly changes related to the pop-up service, and if I open pop-up service,
this is where the breaking changes are, right? I mean, ignoring the fact that we're deleting handlers, that's a breaking change, but
so
most people probably aren't looking at it.
Should I mark a pop-up control as it is like this pop-up shared class as deprecated, as obsolete in main branch and the same as pop-up service, or should it be done for individual methods? I don't know how to correctly notify people about the breaking changes, but actually it's just a rewrite in the whole pop-up, I would say. And anyway, and also, but we still have the method like Oh, it's not an add pop-up. It's probably show pop-up async. It still exists in main, right? But the difference that we are just adding a new parameter, navigation. So now
Okay.
it will just allow you to display a pop-up on a specific window, and not just on a main page on the first window that we have. So some kind of changes, but yeah, anyway.
Yeah. I mean, if that's the only breaking change, well, again, ignoring the fact that we're deleting handlers,
Yeah.
then I think this is totally cool because, most people are just using pop-up in their apps, right? So it's like create a new pop-up, show async, or pop-up service. So they're staying at this high level, and for all intents and purposes, nothing really changes unless this specific one. But they'll get a compiler error letting them know. So yeah, I don't know if we need to mark anything obsolete. I mean, we could mark the handlers as obsolete and leave them in for a version until we do another major version bump, but I don't even know if we need to do that because actually let us know, everybody hanging out with us, because is anybody actually using our pop-up handler implementations? I imagine
I
that's
know
probably
of someone is.
so one.
Yes, yeah. You've seen the Doom implementation in MAUI.
Oh yeah, Nico.
No, Nick. I forget his surname. Drawn UI skier guy.
Oh cool.
He's got it fully working, MAUI fully working in MAUI, so it's all platforms. I've been chatting to him with some audio related bits and also pop-up because he's fixed a couple of bugs in the current pop-up implementation. I did make him aware that Vlad was rewriting pop-ups anyway. But yeah, I think he did have to map some handlers there in order to solve some bugs.
Okay.
But
I mean,
if we compare existing pop-up class, you can see that it inherits from element, iPop-up, window controller, a lot of interfaces. It has a lot of content property, color sizes, a lot of bindable properties. Now pop-up is as simple as
that's a good point.
as content page, content view, right? And without any bindable property at all. So yeah, and all of them, it just has a one method close and two public events. All other properties are removed.
I mean, Vlad, if you show if you jump back into the PR and look at the files changed, and you pull up, because we have so many pop-ups in the sample app. So what I'm thinking is, or what I'm curious about is, what changes did you have to make in the sample app? Like, how impactful is this going to be? And also just like, how intuitive will it be? So if folks update to our latest version of the library and we didn't mark anything obsolete, we just did it full send. So
yeah, let me find some pop-ups.
yeah.
So you can see.
You zoom in a little bit, Vlad?
Yeah. So actually, it's still MCT, our namespace pop-up. So this one can remain without changes. It can be still pop-up. And yeah, as for this one, it was no changes. Let me find. I remember we had a background, probably called different, a bit different, like some just a color, but now it's a background color. And what else we had? Views. I don't remember. So actually, I tried to keep the pop-up itself like almost without the changes, and the only major I removed some constants that we had, so you will not have a size probably for pop-up. It will be a width and hits. for that. Also, close. I don't know. It should be probably close async. Just close. Don't remember. Size. So I think almost everything. So
Yeah, like there's
yeah,
one
I
on
definitely removed size,
opened.
but I don't think it's
Hmm.
such a huge change that should people should don't understand how to use.
Yeah, because ultimately, like we're making it easier for everybody going
Mhm.
forward. Obviously, breaking changes aren't fun, but yeah, I'd say Vlad, if you can, um, I don't even know, like,
Migration guide.
yeah, and even if it's just in a comment in this PR, to
Mhm.
be like, hey, here's everything I had to do, and then we could add that to the docs, or
Mhm.
we could
Get a blog
see if
post
Gerald or
written.
Kim could write a blog post.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it really it's super intuitive once it's content view because
Yeah.
everybody's used a content view whether you know it or not. Like, and even all those interfaces that pop up, we had to implement on pop up, like content view implements all of those already anyway. So we're not taking away any interfaces or implementations like that. And so, yeah, I think this is something that like we'll definitely have to answer some questions. Like I guarantee there's gonna be a couple issues opened.
Mhm.
But yeah, if we do it like we did, like with behaviors, yeah, I did a self-answered question on Stack Overflow that a bunch of people have found. We had some open issues that we responded to with detailed answers that are like ranking high on Google's SEO that people are finding still. So I think this is probably easier than it looks on the surface. Because yeah, like we're breaking a lot of stuff, but at the same
Mhm.
time, like yeah, if you ever added a background color to anything in .NET MAUI, like that's how you do it in the pop-up now. Like it's
Mhm.
easy. So
Yeah.
The API surface change really doesn't look that bad. I think
yeah,
Yeah, and
you might trip
also
over saying, well, that probably
That
no
was
longer exists, but I think
my number one issue was how do I add a background color to a pop-up, and now it's just obvious.
yeah, and I
yeah,
think that's exactly. It's like, wait, somebody moved my cheese, and it's like, oh wait, no, this is super easy.
yeah, and actually people just need to use pop-up in case they want to manually close it using the close method. In all other cases, they can just use a content view and just display a pop-up, let's say pop-up container, and render a content view there. So that's how it works. In case they need to manually close the pop-up by clicking some button, in that case, they need to use a specific pop-up class that has this close method. So it's a pretty much it for a major breaking changes. Yeah, but comparing to all others, so like iPop-up service, it's actually removed
You move that
from
from the core
yeah,
project up.
yeah, all everything that we have in core is removed because we do not need it anymore. So everything is moved uh, just to general pop-up to our community toolkit MAUI library. So it's the one breaking change for, so there is no more iPop-up class, iPop-up, we pop up some event args, they just delete it.
Yeah, and Vlad, I'm seeing in the PR, iPop-up service now lives in communitytoolkit.maui instead of communitytoolkit.maui.core.
I uh, probably that one is because of this iNavigation,
Microsoft Maui
Microsoft
controls. There you
MAUI
go.
controls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Cool.
Yes, so that's pretty much it. Yeah, and also for those who were requesting, so we now have a t pop-up result, specific result that they can use just to return this result, not an object, so you don't need to cast it anymore. So a lot of good
thank you.
changes are coming. Yeah, so all that you requested is now here. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, Vlad, the only thing I wanted to mention is, or let me ask a question first. When we say show pop-up, because now this is on a content page, we're basically just using, we're just basically saying like push modal async, right? We're just pushing this onto the navigation stack as a modal page.
Yeah, so under the hood, it uses a new extension method called pop-up extensions with show pop-up, build blah 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 blah,
Yeah,
push modal async, right?
So the thing I noticed on iOS that I didn't play around with on Windows, so it was cool watching you do it live here. On Windows, the pop-up just appears, but on iOS, push modal async slides that page in from the bottom, and Android might be the same too. So what I was thinking for, at least for the first release, let's keep it simple. And here in push modal async, you can literally just say comma space false, and that'll remove the animation. But I also thought it might be cool in a future PR to add animations, like allow the user to pass something in, and like that's how we'll display the pop-up for you if you want to like fade in or fade out, or if you want to like explode in, explode out. Like we could do some cool stuff.
I definitely vote that.
Yeah, kind of it reminds me of Sean, the work you did for, is it I Animatables, or you did a bunch of animation work years ago.
The animation paper, yes, yeah.
Yeah, and actually in that article that I was inspired of this pop-up too, he added animation for that one for pop-up, so it actually can be. I will check if it can be added manually by users, so we do not need to add anything. Probably just keep it as default, because now actually push modal async add default MAUI animation for appearing a page, even not MAUI, default operation system animation. If user can configure it for pop-up, and it will just appear with some specific effects, like it's just they have an access to the content page. Probably if they can animate that content page appearance, so probably we do not need to add any specific animation and make pop-up more complex.
Yeah, but I'll say that was the big difference I noticed just playing around in the sample app was on iOS, the current pop-up that we have just appears, whereas this one, it slides in from the bottom, and because the content page we're using, we're dimming the background by essentially changing the opacity of the background of that content page. You see that background slide in from the bottom. You know what I mean? So it's a little weird and unexpected. I know if I was writing a pop-up, I would want it to pop up and dim the background. But yeah, you see like the background come in from the bottom of the page, and it's different than what I was expecting, and also different than what we have now. So yeah, I think if we just do push modal async, animations is false, and then yeah, we can either create some sort of animation extension, or like you said, it's just a content view, so folks can just animate it.
Good point. They will not have an access to the content view because I made it's internal for us. So we just not add documentation for it, right?
So it'd be something like override on appearing, and then
it's override on appearing and just trigger events. So it should be internal. But as for content page, as for pop-up, it's definitely public, and people has access to it.
Cool. I love it, man. This was a scary PR when we were first talking about it, but now that the code's here, like, that's easy.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe we'll have some breaking changes for other controls soon as well. we're learning. Yeah, it's
We're
not an
learning.
announcement, but who knows what will happen next.
Yeah, I mean, arranging pop-ups on the screen, there's just so many edge cases that, people are like, I'm trying to use an expander inside of a media element, inside of a pop-up, and it's not working. Like, oh, yeah, I never thought anybody would do that, but you're right. Whereas this, like, yeah, just using the MAUI engine to arrange everything on the page for us is so much easier. All right.
Yeah, one thing I did have that I did solve in the last month or two that I just wanted to quickly bring up, but it's not on a PR or anything, is that issue where we don't have multiple pop-up windows or multiple window support for media element. I figured out a solution to that. I just wanted to bring that up.
Nice. Yeah.
And the collection view thing too.
I think it was specifically, it was using multiple collection views, using
With
media
item
element
view,
inside
yeah.
of multiple collection views on a single page on
With
multiple
multiple item
windows,
views.
I think.
No,
So,
it was for Mac OS
yeah.
and iOS. Yeah, that was I followed the idea you had of going through the entire tree and filtering that out, and the code is actually kind of excellent.
Nice, man.
And I
Sweet.
didn't change anything that you wrote.
I mean, if it's bad code, change it. But cool. Yeah, that'll be good too. I try to recommend people don't use multiple collection views on the same page. Just as a mobile app user, it's not a great experience. But yeah, if we got the code and we can support it, why not?
Scroll view and a lot of collection view inside of collection view and expander.
And then put that in a pop-up
Yeah.
and then try to play a media element inside of all of that. Let's see what
Yeah,
happens.
that actually supported now.
Nice.
Except for I
Cool.
haven't tested Expander with Media Element.
Nice. Thanks, James. Yeah, so that's the end of the agenda. Thanks to everybody for joining the Vlad show. But yeah, like George said, any questions from the community? I mean, I see Tony's asking Vlad if you're going to leave anything for us to do. Let's see. George mentioned, that MVVM toolkit exception, George, that is probably a observable property that's a field that needs to be converted to a partial property. There was a PR a while ago where I had misspelled MVVM TK. I think I forgot a V in our warnings as errors. So yeah, we'd like to get all the partial or all the observable properties that we use in our sample app view model to use partial properties. But yeah, George, feel free to just fix that in your rating view PR. Or if it's a blocker for everybody, then maybe we should just do a hotfix. But
Yeah, I saw it in George PR pipeline, and that's weird because we don't have it in main, but actually it's not related to that PR. So
yeah, super weird.
GitHub
There
Actions
might have been like a
live
merge
their own
conflict or
life.
something that could resolve. I was like, that got conflicted. That got resolved backwards. But cool. That's it for me. Vlad, Sean, James, anything else?
Yes. I don't know if many people are aware. Gerald and the team have been arranging a .NET MAUI Day in Germany for a number of years. It used to be XAM Expert Day. We are expanding the franchise to London in March. So we have a venue. We've actually just moved venue because demand was higher than we expected. So we've opened up some more tickets. It's a free one-day event for people to come and consume or listen to talks and meet people. So if anyone's available on 14th of March in the UK, come along.
Love it. Do you have a link or something we could drop in the comments, Sean?
Yes, I can't put it in, but it's mauiday.net.
Maui Day. All right. Let me Maui Day. Oh, I see. It's like DOTNET. Boom. MauiDay.net. I love that. Yeah, these are great.
There's one question I do have about the current main of the community toolkit. Right now with Android, I have to use the workaround for fragments in order to pretty much do anything. And I was curious about, do we plan to make any changes to that, or like, why do I need to do that just to run the sample app? I was curious.
Can you be more specific? We
That-
merged a PR.
Yeah, we just merged a PR
you
recently
submitted
for that.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look it up. If I don't run that, I can't navigate between pages. Is that
So help me
intended,
understand.
or-
You opened a PR for it, James. Here, I'll share my screen here, and we merged this. Does this not fix the bug you're talking about?
This this fixes the bug of allowing me to opt out. I couldn't opt out before. I couldn't. It didn't work at all, and now this fixed it so I could opt out of dialogue fragments.
Gotcha. I mean, I'm
That's okay.
I'm
It's
pulling
okay.
up.
This isn't the appropriate forum for it. I just thought maybe you were familiar with it and all that. That just fixed the options. That's all.
It's not something I've run into, so I'm curious if it's a specific version of your emulator, if it's a specific version of Android. Has anybody else had trouble with the sample app on Android?
I can't say I've used the Android emulator for a while. Not entirely sure it's still happy on my machine.
No.
And a
Mine's
specific issue to
compiling
the
right
sample
now.
app itself.
Is
It
this
doesn't
with the
affect, like,
dialogue?
regular use of the toolkit.
All right, so my Android emulator is launching right now. Let's see if I can show it.
Nothing like fixing an issue live on stream.
No, it's been bugging me for a week because I've been having to basically edit the sample app every time I wanted to run it. If this is an issue, if you just click and navigate to any page, it should be an issue. Oh no, it's
Oh,
my
yeah,
emulator
look
then.
at that. Oh, this is that same. Dang it. Yeah, so this error happened in a previous build of MAUI. Here, let me show my whole screen just to show everybody what's going on. Here. Yeah, so it did crash.
Okay.
But yeah, this system not supported exception. So basically, yeah, anytime you see these missing method exceptions, it is typically a version mismatch. So like the version of Microsoft.MAUI controls that the sample app's using requires a newer version of the MAUI workload. And that's a tooling problem where we need to be able to tie NuGet packages to workloads, which we can't currently. But yeah, that was fixed because I reported that to Gerald, and that got fixed a couple weeks ago. But yeah, it looks like it's back. So
There's been another release.
yeah. Yeah, let's play around with it. Let's make sure we're using like the latest workloads with the latest Microsoft MAUI controls NuGet package, because we might need to bump our Toolkit workload version. But yeah, that's probably, I'd say 98% chance that's not us, and then that's in the tooling somewhere. So that's something we'll have to hunt down. But yeah, anytime you see like missing element or like constructor not found, stuff like that is usually a mismatch between the workload and the NuGet package.
I did at one point try to catch this exception and try to throw something more meaningful.
If we use that options thing and we opt out, that issue goes away.
Okay.
So that's the workaround, and that's why I wanted it fixed right away, because if we use that options and we opt out, the issue is mitigated.
Yeah, I mean, if you can figure out how to fix it, fix it. But I would bet money that this is a problem we need to escalate to the Maui team.
Oh, I agree. I'm just saying is we currently do have a workaround, so for people using the community toolkit.
Sounds good. Thanks for the heads up, James. And actually, there was a issue. Now I think about it, I closed it. I'll reopen that and let them know. Yeah, there it is. Because I closed, I was like, just update to the latest version. That's obvious.
Just mention the workaround for options on Android, and that should fix it for them.
Will do. I'll get on it right now. Thank you, sir. All right. Well, thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
We are way over time, but appreciate you sticking it out, and we'll see everybody next month.
Bye all.